So how does it feel to be free?
Oh, it feels great, man. It feels great. That's why we've been taking that. Every day I live it like my lads, you know? We go hard, we dance, everything.
In April 1993, Robert England and Armando Lazo were shot dead in the border town of El Paso, Texas. At that time, Daniel Villegas was a 16-year-old teenager also living in El Paso. Daniel reportedly claimed to have killed the men and was arrested shortly after. While in police custody, Daniel was questioned without parental consent or a lawyer present. He says he was threatened and coerced into making a confession. In 1995, he was found guilty of capital murder and sentenced to life in prison. While Daniel was in prison, local businessman John Mimbela led the fight to free him, and in January 2014, after nearly 19 years in lockup, Daniel was released on bond. While in El Paso, I caught up with Daniel and John to hear their story.
See, that's what convinced me of Daniel's innocence when I saw that picture, when I was looking through the files of, and I told the family, give me everything, that picture was in that file. And I go, you know what, an innocent person does not react that way to a conviction.
This picture is the one I got released. When I was coming out the county jail right there.
What's it like to be an innocent man in a place full of guilty, sometimes dangerous, violent people?
Well, that right there was kind of rough, I mean, especially being in there in that environment, and then especially the way, the way we were raised, that was tough, I would always look in the day a lot of times and I'll see all these people and you'd be like, man, what the hell am I doing in this place, with these people, their whole mindset of thinking is totally different from yours. And some of them, that's all they do is just 24/7, just thinking about how to prey on people. So, that was I was just, a lot of times I would be like, and then you can't tell nobody I'm innocent, because they're gonna be like, yeah, right, say we're all innocent,
Mm-hmm.
And then, you can't, and the guards too, they put the, they have to stress you out and do and then to see them doing all kinds of illegal things that they ain't supposed to do and then getting away with it, that was tough too, They're like, here I am innocent, I'm in prison, and then these guys are breaking the law 24/7 and they're just walking like nothing. They're just, for them it's just another day to kill another inmate or to do whatever they're doing, forcing us to fight and all that stuff. So I would always look in the day room and be like, man, I don't belong here.
They never found the car, they never found the weapon, no eyewitnesses, no fingerprints, nothing physically that ties Daniel to this crime. And when they asked me, well, how did he get convicted? And when I told them, they forced him to confess. And then that's when I asked the guys, I go, did you ever see his confession? And they go, no, nobody ever interviewed us or, nothing, nobody ever interviewed us. So I showed them Daniel's confession and they're like, this isn't what happened. This is not the car that, that we saw. This is not the circumstances, there were no shots in the back. Even the autopsy shows that. The autopsy shows that shots were at the front. It wasn't a shotgun, it was a small caliber weapon. Nothing that's in Daniel. Daniel got two things right in that confession. The time of the crime and the location. Well, guess what? That was all over the newspapers. Everybody and their mother knew that. So, and that's, started reaching out to innocence projects. I found Northwestern Law, they're the #1 center on the wrongful convictions of youth. If you were not a youth when this crime happened or you got arrested, they will not even look at your case. First time I reached out to them, I got denied. They said, you know what, we get 4,000 calls a year. Right now, we're not looking at anything new. And, I just persisted. I go, you know what, you need to look at this case. I guarantee you, you're not wasting your time. So finally got through the founder, Steve Drizzen. He emailed me back, says, John, he goes, send me a little bit of information. I sent him the confession, I sent him what really happened. Right away they got on board. They said, you know what, this doesn't look like a false confession to us, because that's all they do, study false confession. They have exonerated, I think, like 345 people. 55% of those kids gave a false confession.
You can never give somebody back time, but how do you feel like this situation can be amended, and overall, even bigger, if you've thought about it, the justice system in general? How could something like this be avoided?
Well, the most part about the rectification, that right there, that you'd have to actually tell the person there, put it down on paper that they're innocent. Because there's a lot of us that come on and we're innocent, but DNA, and then they go back to court and they dismiss the case. So you're not really claimed innocent by the state. So to really rectify something, it's like a weight on your shoulders. you know, and then to have that on your record, not just your record, but just that weight to have it there. So I mean, to really rectify it, you would have to actually have all of us actually become exonerated, all of us actually be taking it off our record, actually everybody actually in the state and in the country to actually acknowledge that, you know, that you were wrongfully convicted. You know, not just walk around and, you know, I was let out on the technicality because, you know, I was innocent, but, you know, they didn't want to drop the case. I mean, that's really, and to avoid it, I mean, really, the avoiding it, I mean, you'd have to, you know, police officers are going to have to start doing their jobs, you know. That's how I feel. You know, instead of just trying to pin it on anybody, you know, to get that tunnel vision on somebody and just do whatever they can to arrest them and then take it to court and then convict the guy just because, you know what I'm saying, they want the case closed. I mean, they really have to put in the work, you know.
What kind of resources, I mean, were you using to gather information on the case? Like, what are helpful things that, say, someone else in a situation like that who's trying to fight for, to get information out about someone else's case? Where do you look for that?
Well, the first thing you do is, of course, you look for all the transcripts of the trials and what evidence they had, you know, against Daniel, you know, by looking at the transcripts. And then, of course, then I had to hire an attorney, and then that attorney is able to go through the DA's file and ask for the records or their files as far as what they had against Daniel. And that's probably another box full of information. And then everything else is what, after I hired the attorney, I had to hire a private investigator. They'll go back and talk to all these witnesses. And then we get statements from all these witnesses. You know, the first thing we did is there was 4 kids that were walking, 2 got hit, the other 2 ran and weren't hit. Well, we went and hit those 2 witnesses first to see what they saw. And when they gave us their statement, and when we asked them, well, do you really think Daniel committed this crime? And the first thing they said is, like, we don't know Daniel, we never heard of Daniel. And we just figured, you know, the police did their job and they caught the right guy.
At what point, though, did you realize the tide was turning and there was a chance that you were actually going to be able to get out? You know, you said this was in the 12th year where you had that revelation. How long, you know, after that did it start to become clear that this was happening?
It probably took another, let me see, that was 2006. Yeah, the end of 2006. So it probably took another 6 years. It wasn't until 2000, yeah, about another 5-6 years. It was actually when I came back to El Paso on a bench warrant, you know, on the habeas corpus appeal, that I started really being real to me, you know, because back before that, I would just get letters like, you know, we're getting this, we're getting that, but, you know, you're still in prison, so you don't see nothing going on. So it wasn't actually to actually chain me and brought me down here. I was like, oh, right, this is really happening now. This is really going down, you know. And I actually came back to El Paso. That's when it really was just hitting me. Yeah, it's going forward.
So, you know, we got a false confession expert saying that this is a false confession. You know, we've got Northwestern Law, #1 Center for Convictions of Youth, studying, you know, confessions. They're on board. Daniel, what he says, you know, this was never found until, once again, we started doing the investigation. Daniel recanted that same day that he gave that confession. Okay, he got picked up around 10 at night, 4 o'clock in the morning, he's giving a confession. After he gets the confession, they send him to the juvenile detention center. In the morning, the first lady that interviews Daniel there, he tells that lady, that the probation officer, a caseworker, she goes, I didn't do this crime. You know, well, why did you confess? You know, people are very ignorant. They think, well, you know, you got a choice, you know, and why did you confess? It was, I didn't have a choice. They were forcing me, they were threatening me. I was tired, I wanted to go to sleep. I told them what they wanted to hear. Well, guess what? The studies at Northwestern Law, that's exactly the protocol for a false confession. So after we sent them that, they didn't have that back when we first got started. After we sent them that, they're like, this is it. I mean, everything we've studied, it's right here on, it's recanted that same day.
Your case is well known for you being underage when giving this confession from the police. Is that where things went wrong?
Yeah, that's exactly what things went wrong. And then, you know, then the more brutal part about it is that, you know, we're supposed to have these laws set, you know, saying to protect, you know, saying juveniles, but you know, they don't abide by the laws. You know, you're supposed to have your parents present. You're supposed to get their okay. I mean, that never happened in my case. You know, they came in there, they arrested us, and then they try to say we weren't, we didn't arrest them, but how you not arrested, you're getting handcuffed. So the most part about that, they all go back to police doing their jobs again, going through all the motions that they're really supposed to go through, and then also not just that, but collaborating the evidence, that's the most important. I just say we got a confession, he's guilty, let's go. And then his statement doesn't even match up with the crime scene or with nothing else that goes around it,
They've had, since 2009 when we did this writ of habeas corpus, they've had 3 full-time prosecutors looking at Daniel's case, going through every single phone call that we've made since he was in prison, reviewing everything, fighting us on every motion that we filed, fighting us. We've probably had 5 motions that we won and that they filed against us, motions against us, and we won them again. This has been a uphill battle, because every time we win something, they try to deny it. So that's costing not just me money, but that's costing our taxpayers money too. Now since Daniel conviction got reversed by what it is, the highest court, 9-0 once again, after we presented all these boxes of evidence, 9-0 throughout Daniel's conviction.
Was there ever a time when you were behind bars that you, felt like you weren't going to be getting out, or did you maintain hope or faith the whole time?
No, I thought my life was over with for years, I pretty much gave up. And then it was until I had my 12th year in prison, and I was coming out of solitary, and I was in the red yard, and I was right there, and I was looking at everybody play basketball, handball, and working out and everything. So, I had I was kind of mad at God, because there's a guy, saying I won't be in prison, so I went through all that little route. So at that time, I prayed to God, and it was the first time I prayed in a long, long time. And I told him, man, I can't do this no more, man. I already got 12 years, and I still got another 20, 25 years to go just to see parole for the first time. That's not even saying I'm going to come out. That's just saying hi, for my first time up. So I prayed, I said, what, if there's a reason for this, and and it's true that, that you're going to get me out, you got to show me some type of sign. And I was and I read all these psychology books, I read all these different religions and everything. So anything you bring at me, I'm going to rationalize and logicalize it, So it has to be a slap in the face that this is some type of divine intervention, where I can't deny it. And man, I have to make that prayer, 15 minutes later, they call me for mail, and they start telling me, I get all these innocent projects are colleges who are doing cases, pro bono, and I never signed up for none of them. And then all of a sudden I was like, what the heck's going on? And then all of a sudden John came that week, and then he said, what, man, God's telling me to take you out. And I was like, whoa. All in a matter of a week, so I was freaked out about that. And then from there we've been going strong.
In Texas, 2% of convictions get overturned. Texas is the hardest state to overturn a conviction. So, you figure the judges are 9-0. That's got to tell this DA something. Why is he pursuing it again? The first 3 prosecutors that he got on the case, like I said, they couldn't find anything. They lost the appeal. We won it. So now he threw those 3 guys off the case and put 3 new guys on the case. And this is the 3 new guys that are trying to take Daniel back to trial. So these 3 new guys have to go through all the work that the other 3 did. So, you're talking about millions of dollars that it's costing us taxpayers. Mm-hmm. And now he's got 2 full-time investigators talking to our witnesses and trying to get them to change, what they told us. And it's just a shame that this DA is going after a conviction and not the truth and justice.
How do you feel about the future in this case, man, and the direction that the district attorney is trying to take this?
Well, I feel positive about it. I pretty much know we're going to win the case. There's not a doubt in my mind. I don't think they're going to take me out this far. God's going to bring me this far, and then, for me to go back. But, only thing that is frustrating that they are, still fighting it. Then knowing that, all the evidence they got, come on, anybody can tell, If you get people who do law and they're saying, nah, man, this guy's innocent. We're getting all kinds of support, judges, lawyers, anybody who reads the case, So this guy, You know, if he's a DA, he's not dumb. You know, what I mean, he went to college and you know he can pretty much. You know what I'm saying, he got a pretty good mind on his shoulders. So you know, for him to just keep on pursuing it, you know, that's kind of frustrating. But I mean, other than that, I feel we're gonna make it. It's just a long process.
We've got those reports. We've got cases where these two brothers 2 months before had done a drive-by. They had, they didn't hit nobody, but they were, they had got charges on the drive-by.
Is anyone pursuing them?
No, that's the irony of the thing. They would not spend 1 minute, $1 investigating these two brothers. But here they are, spending, and I'm telling you, it's millions of dollars trying to keep Daniel locked up.
Can you take us back to what it was like, what it felt like to be in that situation where something you said maybe as just boasting, as joking, as you can describe that to us in your own words, but take us back to that moment realizing that something you said was now being used against you and what that felt like.
Well, that the first time when they arrested us, right? And they came in, they came to my house. They didn't even come to arrest me, they came to arrest one of my friends, right? And then when I stopped them at the door, and asking, what was going on, they asked me what was my name, and that's when they tackled me down when I gave them my name, and they told us we're arrested for this, for a capital murder. I still was confused. I didn't know what they were talking about, Even when they were drilling me for all them hours, I didn't know. The next day, I still didn't know what was going on until it actually happened. I had to talk to my mother. And then when my mom told me, oh, you know what, this is what they said happened, boom, and she gave me the sequence of events, that's when I was like, oh, okay. So I was like, holy crap, that's when it really just hit me. But, all the way till I talked to my mom, I never knew what was going on. I was still in confusion. I was like, what are they talking about? What is this? And they're giving me statements of this guy, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? They still have me confused, I had to have my mom to explain it to me to actually realize, okay, this is how it all started. So it was kind of confusing at first.
Where can people find out more about Daniel's case and how they can help out?
We've got a website that we created for Daniel. It's questforjustice.net. And we've got a lot of information on Daniel's cases. We've got a lot of other wrongful convictions, people that are backing us up. But, the main thing that, we want to make people aware that, wrongful convictions do happen. And, we need to make sure that we hold our DAs accountable, our police department accountable, and make sure that, that they know that we're watching them. They need to do their job. And, we're not trying to criticize anybody. We just want to make this whole system better for everybody, the innocent as well as for the guilty.
So now what's the future hold for Daniel?
Well, right now, right now we're still fighting the case, but right now we're still trying to make plans to start this proclaim justice up. Try to get more innocent people out of prison. Because there's still a whole bunch back there. And that's one of the main focus we want to go on. Get that. And then I want to travel around the world. And just show. That this does happen. Even in America. I want to get back. And I want to get with the other exonerees because it's more of even though if you don't know them and you guys have different experiences, just being locked up for so long and then them knowing what it feels like. It's, no one, I can tell you till I'm blue in the face how it is, but until you actually experience it, you're not going to actually know how it feels like, So being around individuals who have actually been in that position, it's just kind of refreshing. So I want to meet a lot of them.
He was raided in his house and his mom's house in March 2012. 6 months later, since they were threatening his mother with charges, and he was so outraged and angered by that, he kind of exploded in a YouTube video which led to his arrest, and they indicted him 3 times on a total of 17 counts, for which he was originally facing up to 105 years in jail.